Hello everyone, back with another video just before the weekend's racing. Got a lot of top racing this weekend at Fairyhouse and Newbury etc. So I just thought I'd skim through the races quick and give some of me views. I won't skim through them all, I'm just going to touch on the majority of them and I'll try and get through them quickly and not try and ramble on too much. So the best place to start is Newbury tomorrow, and it looks like Nicky Henderson's sending quite a strong team there. I'm debating having like a little £5 treble on Kilcardine in the first, John Bon in the third race I think it is, and Mr. Coffee in the fourth race. I know these are three of his smartest horses, the way he talks about them. So I've seen stable tours and things like this where he thinks highly of Mr. Coffee this season going over fences, and obviously we know the reputation John Bon's came with, and this Kilcardine in the first, won on debut. He said this is one of the nicest horses he's had for the Queen for a very long time, so could be worth a little £5 treble in case he's just trying to get three of his star horses or maybe just smarter horses out there to try and land a little treble tomorrow at Newbury. I don't know. But the thing with this John Bon, I touched on John Bon last video, and I said, like, I've got a little feeling he'll be a good horse. Of course, this is stating the obvious. He's broke the record for the biggest purchase of a point-to-point horse, I think, so I'm sure he did anyway. I've seen it all over Twitter, whatever. So it's obviously just stating the obvious, but you like to think because he's a brother to Zuvan, he looked good in his bumper debut, and as point-to-point, it was a stylish win, so you'd like to think that he is going to be the real deal, but Nicky Henderson wouldn't fill you with confidence. He's out with these excuses already, but they feel like excuses before he's even ran about. He could get a bit agitated going down to the start. He was fuming that the race had been moved from the first on the card to the third on the card. So how the hell, if John Bon's going to kick up a fuss here, being the third race on the card at Newbury, how's he going to handle the tension of a supreme first race at the Cheltenham Festival on a Tuesday? I don't know if the horse really is this much of a nutcase or gets agitated so easy, or is this Nicky Henderson just moaning again and worrying about anything? I'm not sure, but it wouldn't fill you with confidence. Nicky Henderson was even saying on an interview the other day, it was perfect, John Bon's bumper run, because it was during the pandemic and nobody was there to watch it. It was the last race, and I'm thinking, so you want this horse to just run when no one's there? Is it that much of a lunatic? It's going to just go nuts. So it wouldn't fill you with confidence the way Nicky Henderson's talking, and it has made me worry a bit, to be honest, about maybe backing John Bon for anything until I see him, especially for debut. Is he going to be crazy keen the way Flinta Sacra was and Iron Maximus? These type of 2 mile hurdlers for Nicky Henderson that have been making the debut this season and last season. So I think I'll just have a little £5 treble on them three horses, so I'm not bothered if it loses, but I wouldn't sound too confident the way this Nicky Henderson's talking about John Bon, but we know he just moans about anything really, don't we? So we're seeing obviously what's happened with Shishkin again. It's kind of becoming a little repeat thing with Nicky Henderson, and listen, he's out of the Tingle Creek and Nicky Henderson's trained more 2 mile chase winners than any of us, so of course he knows what he's doing, and he kind of is the only English trainer that can pound for pound go up against the Irish and still get wins in these top grade 1 races at the Cheltenham Festival. So I'm not questioning Nicky Henderson, but he's just moaning about everything, tough races, tough this, tough that, and even though of course he knows what he's doing, he's the man, isn't he, with these 2 mile chases. He didn't have full healthy horse season up last year, and he fucked champ season up as well. I weren't on any of these horses for the Cheltenham Festival, so it didn't nearly bother me. But I'm on Shishkin. I'm all over him. He's in my doubles, my trebles. Like, I know it's a strong race, the Champion Chase this year, but I am just all over Shishkin. I'm a massive Shaq fan, but for whatever reason, he just didn't bring it to Cheltenham last year, and you wouldn't be so confident he could this year, even if they make more use of him. And a neg me, and I just, listen, come back and laugh at me because he's done nothing wrong and he's just outstanding horse by the looks of it. I don't think he's in the same calibre as the other two personally. I know top people like Garrity have said he's in the Sprinter Sacra mould and his wins have been so impressive, but I don't know, I've got a funny feeling. I just don't think he's as good as Shishkin or Shaq and Poursoir, so Shishkin's the bet for me in the Champion Chase, as I've touched on, but I just hope Nicky doesn't carry on playing these silly games where he just looks for egg and spoon races and we don't see him until February, like what happened with Champ. But fingers crossed he goes to Desert Orchard and maybe then the Clarence House or the Game Spirit, and he gets a good prep going into Cheltenham for, obviously I put him up in a Trixie with Honeysuckle and Bob Olinger in the first video on these videos, and I'm involved myself, and a lot of bets with singles on him and things like this. So hopefully this is the last bit of confusion with Shishkin. So we also have at Newbury, I've just written little notes here, so I'm not trying to think off the top of my head. We've got the race with Ferny and Destreval where he's favouring, and he's taken a big drop in class. I think he's been racing in grade 1s and races like this, and now he's dropped into a class 2. He looks like he's got a solid chance, but is he just one of these horses that likes to run well but not win? I'm not sure. It'd probably be a watching brief for me. I think Phoenix Way has always kind of, well, people have always expected more from him. He's kind of always come with a little bit of a reputation. Even in his hurdle days, he was favoured for the attempts. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, at one stage he won quite snugly, but then he ends up missing the race. He went over fences last year, was tried at the top level a couple of times, and I think he's always promised more than he's shown. So Phoenix Way is getting about £7, I think. I forgot to write it down, off Ferny and Destreval. I wouldn't be surprised if he won either, but it's going to be a race I'd leave that, to be honest. But it would be nice to see Ferny and Destreval get his head in front, and it looks like this is the perfect opportunity for him. Then we've got the long walk hurdle. Can Paisley Park bounce back to form? Who knows? Me personally, I don't think so. I wouldn't put my life on that he's not going to win, but no, I just kind of think he's finished. I've had this feeling I backed him anti-post for the Stays hurdle last year at the start of the season, but the last time I was really impressed with him was at was it Ascot? Was it Ascot in the long walk on the heavy ground when he won the race, staying on strong to beat Roxana and Time Hill. I think it was at Ascot in the long walk hurdle anyway, forgive me if I'm wrong. That was the last time I was really impressed by him, and ever since, I don't know, he just seems to me he's slower. He needs a 4-mile hurdle, I think. I'd have sent him over fences anyway, and maybe went for like the National Hunt Chase, but listen, he's not mine, and what do I know? But Paisley Park wouldn't be for me, but at the same time, I wouldn't be completely shocked if he won. Mrs. Milner's interesting. She brings that Irish form. We know the Irish are streets ahead of the English, so listen, she can be respected. Indefatigable, beat Prashema last time. Listen, it was a good run, can't knock her. This is a wide open race. We've got Thomas Darby, Liz Nagar, Oscar, who's kind of an underrated horse, Stayers hurdle winner. Listen, this will be another race that I'll be looking to avoid and just watch for enjoyment, because I couldn't tell you what I'd pick in this race. If I had a gun to my head, might just stick with the Irish form and go with Mrs. Milner, Cheltenham Festival winner, ran away with the race. But yeah, under Brian Cooper last year, I think it was Brian Cooper anyway. So yeah, I'm going to leave that race also, but let me know what you think. It looks like it'll be an interesting contest. I think a lot of them are quite evenly matched. We have the rematch in Nina de Terrier and LA Este Bell. Also a watching brief for me this. I fancied LA Este Bell to win the first time they met, and Nina de Terrier won with a bit in hand. So it's hard to see LA Este Bell, however you pronounce that name, reversing the form. But you look at a bumper form and it was good, especially that champion bumper behind the likes of Sig Erhard, 3 Stripe Life, and she finished in front of 3 Stripe Life, sorry. She got there, didn't she, behind Kill Cruz and Sig Erhard. So that'd be a watching brief, because I wouldn't be completely shocked if she did reverse the form, but based on what we're seeing over that first run on hurdles, it's hard to imagine also, because that Nina de Terrier looked like she won cosily. Then we have Mr. Incredible versus Hoy Senor. Of course, there's a couple of other runners in the race, but these are the two I've just noted down. Listen, I think Mr. Incredible will win this. I know Hoy Senor's favourite, but I just think Mr. Incredible's going to win this. I'm going to put a little bet up, the only bet in this video. I'm not even sure whether he'll go for this race, but I'm going to go 0.5 points on a Hoy Senor for the National Hunt Chase, 20-1 across the board. He could go for the RSA. I know a couple of people have tipped him for the RSA throughout the year before the season, but I just think this Ahoy Senor, I mentioned in one of my previous videos, got a bit of history with him. I've won on him in the past, and he strikes me as a national horse for Lucinda Russell, maybe the next one for Arte. I know he's got a lot of class and he beat Brave Man's Game over hurdles, but I just think this horse is going to be a stayer, and I'm willing to risk 0.5 points on Ahoy Senor for the National Hunt Chase. Listen, he might not go that race, but it's only 0.5 points. If he goes the RSA, I don't think he'll win. I think, I touched on it in a previous video, I think he could come 5th or 6th, like an I Right or something like this, who ended up going on to national trips after that, after the RSA. So yeah, I was going to do 0.5 points a Huy Senior to win the National Hunt Chase on the Tuesday, 20 to 1 across the board. But I do think Mr. Incredible will just, once again for the Irish, come over and mop up and win that 2 mile 6 races. Let me just check at Newbury on the Saturday. Just have a quick check now, sorry. It's the John Frankham Chase, 2 miles, 7 furlongs. Yeah, 6 to 4, Ahoy Senor, Mr. Incredible, 13 to 8. You also have Flash Gallange, and it's going a bit slow now with my phone, so I'll just give that a miss anyway. But yeah, I think Mr. Incredible will take that race. Obviously, they send Eclateria over also the same stable for the big one. So yeah, moving on. We've got Soar and Glory versus Gowell Road. Gowell Road significantly down in trips since the last day at Cheltenham. I backed him at Cheltenham. I thought he was staying on strong up the hill. He won quite well. He's receiving weight here from Soar and Glory, but it's hard to see him coming back to down to 2 miles and beating Soar and Glory. Again, it'll be a no-bet race for me. But at the same time, I do think Soar and Glory is going to win here. He ran in a Supreme, he won a Betfair hurdle. He's got good form over 2 miles, and even though he's given the weight here, he came out and beat, was it Booth Hill, maybe, who's running over, I think he's running over fences this weekend, Booth Hill, but I think it was Booth Hill anyway, and Soar and Glory beat him quite cosily a couple of weeks back. So he showed he's alive and well for this season, and I think he's going to go in again here. Soar and Glory, but again, I think he's very short, and it'll be a no-bet race for me. So anyway, moving on to Epatante in the fighting fifth versus Montmoral and Silver Streak. Starting to get your racing post working in case you need it here for some reason. Connection's been fine in this new apartment as well, and when I start signing the record a video, it starts going tits up on me, but it looks like it's working now in case I need it. So yeah, I think Epatante will win the fighting fifth. I took 9 to 4, I touched on it in a previous video. Maybe she's got a lot of questions to answer, but I just think Nikki's horses hopefully will be in better form this year. They said they've had a little tweak with her, fixed a few niggly issues. I just think she'll take all the beating. She looked an absolute superstar in this race last year, albeit the race fell apart. A couple of horses ran out, I think Silver Streak and something else. And Shoe Royale had to make his own running, so he was maybe a bit of a sitting duck for Epatante to have a toe into the race. But no, I've got a soft spot for Epatante. I've always kind of backed her. Maybe since she even come over, I backed her for the Mares hurdle, the Mares Novice hurdle when she flopped. Backed her the last 2 champion hurdles. Obviously, she won the first one, she lost last year. And yeah, I'm just a big fan of Epatante, and this will be the last chance to give her though, because she seemed to go off the boil last season. I see what she's like here, if she's in the same form as she was when she was at her peak. I'm banking on the fact she is, but if she's not, I think it is time to just leave her, but I'm going to give her one more chance. I've put it in a short price treble with Honeysuckle and Mighty Potter. I think it's an 8 to 1 treble, 9 to 1 treble on William Hill, and I've been happy to have a few quiz on that treble anyway. So I'm hoping Epatante will win the fighting fifth, but of course, let me know what you all fancy in these races. So moving on to the Ladbrokes Trophy. Listen, the Irish are to be feared. Obviously, they just destroy us all the time, don't they? And most of the time they're well handicapped also, but they send over in it's Eclateria and On the Ropes, who I think I watched another preview a couple of days ago, and they were talking about On the Ropes being a hard horse to get a handle on, because he kind of didn't do anything and then ran a second behind Monkfish, then was off for a long time and come and won the Munster National. So listen, he represents top connections, and I wouldn't put anyone off him, but I don't know, this Ladbrokes Trophy, I haven't got a strong opinion on it. You look at Fiddler on the Roof also, the Tizard horses I mentioned in the last video, as we all know, they're performing out of the skin compared to last season, and Fiddler on the Roof he always promised a lot as a novice hurdler. Everybody was excited for him to go chasing. Didn't really pan out for him, but he ran a few good races in defeat. He's got form around Newbury, I think. Oh no, he comes second to Caribbean Boy, so it depends if he classed that as form, but I think he could go well here, Fiddler on the Roof. And I think it's one of the top of the market's going to win. I know a lot of people fancy this Envelo. And listen, I wouldn't put you off him either, to be honest. This is another race I really don't have a strong opinion on. I could see 4 or 5 winning this. Let me know what if you've got a strong opinion in the comments, but I certainly haven't. If I had a gun to my head, maybe fiddle it on the roof, but maybe I'm being foolish and not just going with the Irish horses because they're just the levels above it, the English, aren't they? So moving on to some races at Fairyhouse. So on the Saturday, Chemical Energy's out and he finished behind my mate Mozzie the last time he ran. And my mate Mozzie is the favourite for the Grade 1 a day later, so you could kind of think you'd be expecting this Chemical Energy to go in, but we'll have to wait and see. He had good bumper form, this Chemical Energy. I think he was unleashed in one of the bumper races at Down Royal for Gordon last season, and we know Gordon likes unleashing his best horses at that meeting, and he kind of went off the boil a bit as the season went on. I think he was well beaten, was he, in the Dublin Racing Festival, or did he not even show up? Let me just check. I just feel like he went a bit off the boil towards the end of the season, but I think he always come with a big reputation, this Chemical Energy. And I just want to touch this Caldwell Construction, who own Chemical Energy, Mighty Potter, Grand Paradise, Phil Dorr. They've got a few horses out over this weekend, and I just wondered if Gordon Elliott and this Caldwell Construction are really wanting to clean up. If they've got a few horses primed for these races over the weekend, it could be worth having a little, even a £2 four-fold action on some of the horses, or a £5, just something that you're not going to miss. But they have got a lot of horses out and they're not all going to win, so it's picking the right ones. But listen, I do feel like they're going to get a few more winners, and I'll move on to that as I move on to the Sunday. But I'm just going to check this Chemical Energy just a second to see what actually happened to him at the end of the season last year, because, like I say, I don't think we heard from him for a while. So Chemical Energy, so there he is making his... Yeah, so he come fourth, sorry, at the Dublin Racing Festival. Obviously a long way behind Kilcrews, let's be clear about it, what you want. And then he went on to the Cheltenham Festival, yeah, sorry, that escaped my memory, that, and he was well beaten, so maybe he promised a lot early, but then didn't nearly train on, or for whatever reason. Listen, he's went won cosily his maiden hurdle at Navan, and then he was then beat on the 7th of November, 10 lengths by my mate Mozzie, but that could end up being good form, we'll see on Sunday. But I'll see what price this Chemical Energy is. He's probably short, but he could be one for the Akkers. So anyway, moving on to the Sunday and sticking with this Caldwell Construction, and I'm going to be talking about their horses a lot because I fancy plenty of them here. Got Phil Dorr out, I put him up last week in the video. You'd be wanting to win impressively here, hopefully just do the same as he did. It's going to be much tougher than his debut over hurdles at Down Royal last month, of course it is. But you'd be wanting to try and win quite well, and hopefully the price will contract the 8-1 that I put up in the last video, and he can solidify his chances going towards the Cheltenham Festival as one of the top contenders of the juvenile category. And then going on to the Royal Bonds, we said my mate Mozzie, Mighty Potter. This Mighty Potter seems to be a buzz horse. Every time he's mentioned by somebody who works in the yard or has spoken to anybody in the yard, it's, oh, this Mighty Potter's unbelievable. I think Keith Donahue said it, Barry Geraghty. I think these said it, by the way, I'm sorry if I'm making this up. Gordon Elliott said he really likes him. I think David Jennings said he spoke on a stable tour to Gordon Elliott and he got the vibe that they really like this horse, and it just seems to be one of these horses, and okay, it's only words, but a bit of a buzz horse, and sometimes we get them coming out of the Elliott stable. Obviously with Sam Crow a couple of years back, Envoy Allen, Ballyadam last year was a bit of a buzz horse. He didn't amount to nothing, but he won the Royal Bonds, and the year before Envoy Allen won the Royal Bonds and Abacadabra's come second, so Elliott likes this race, doesn't he? I think he's going to run 3 Stripes Live and Mighty Potter here. I think Mighty Potter's going to take all the beating. I think 9-4 is a good price, and like I say, I've got him in a treble with Epatante and Honeysuckle for the Hatton's Grace. So we'll see what happens. It's 9-1 the treble, I think, or 8, nearly 9-1. Let me know what you think in the Royal Bonds. Moving on to the Drinmore. Listen, this Grand Paradise, it's starting to get backed a little bit. I've backed it at 10-1. I like this Grand Paradise. For the Drinmore, I don't think it's a strong Drinmore at all. The favourite's a worthy favourite, that Lifetime Ambition. It beat Grand Paradise last time, but I touched on it in one of my previous videos. I was waiting on Grand Paradise for its treble that day, so I was watching him carefully, and maybe it was my pocket talking, but I'm not saying he was a one, but I thought he was travelling arguably the best. And then they omitted the third fence, and there was a long run between the fourth and the second fence, and I just feel like this Grand Paradis, for whatever reason, just seemed to lose his position when they were without the fences, and he seemed to come off the bridle under pressure and then kind of made a Novice fall 2 out trying to get back in the race. That was my view on it anyway. I'm not saying he was going to win, but I'd be willing to give him another chance. He started off in the same race as Sam Crow and Envoy Allen did for Gordon Elliott at Down Royal, and now he's taken the same next steps to the Drinmore. I know Sam Crow got beaten at Drinmore by Fakir Dudries, and Envoy Allen kind of won an egg and spoon race Drinmore last year. So I'm not saying just because he's took the same route as these, he's some kind of weapon and he's a certainty, but I just think in a race that I think's weak enough, Grand Paradis is worth a bet here. He was flawless over hurdles, albeit not at the top level, and I think he could even need soft ground. I think he's probably even a 3-mile horse, but no, I've took a bit of that 10-1 for Grand Paradis. Probably even going to have a little treble on Phil Zorn, Mighty Potter and Grand Paradis, just for a little Coles World Construction treble, whatever you want to call it. I think they could have a good day, and they might have been not laid out for it because there's long seasons ahead, and of course they're going to be revved up for these good Grade 1 races, or if the Phil Zorn race is a Grade 1, sorry, it could even be a Grade 2. I'm not sure. But no, yeah, I just think them horses are going to go well for Gordon Elliott. I think we could be, listen, you can laugh at me if none of them win, but some of them are short, so of course they should get 1 or 2 winners, but I think by the next video we could be saying they had 2 or 3 winners. But listen, there are no walkovers, a couple of them are Grade 1, so we'll see what happens, but this is just the way I'm thinking. I think Magic Tricks could reverse the form with Esky Lane. The handicap, he's receiving weight this time. Sorry, I forgot to write it down here, and I'm not even going to bother to check just in case the connection. I'll just have a quick look actually. But yeah, I think he was given £1 last time to Esky Lane because I backed Magic Tricks, and Esky Lane won quite convincingly. I think he pulled away by a couple of lengths, but this Magic Tricks is a bit of a cliff horse for me, and I'm going to just have to keep on backing him until he wins, kinds of things. I know that's certainly not the best way to bet if you're trying to make a profit, but I won't have any big bets on him, just kind of little bets. And I think it's the 2-mile Bone Racing handicap hurdle, is it? Yeah, he's 8-1. I might just have a 5 on it just for the sake of if he wins. 5 or a 10, just so I don't miss out, because I have backed him the last couple of times, this Magic Tricks. He's 8-1, it's 7-1 the field, it's wide open. We've got this Glens of Antrim. I know a lot of people fancy here for them. The Mayor's Novice hurdle being a second season novice. Listen, I'm terrible at handicap, so my opinion means nothing, but Magic Tricks, I think he could reverse the form. He's receiving a good bit of weight, to be honest, 6 or 7 pounds off Esky Lane. I think it's just going funny again, yeah. So yeah, then it leaves us with the Hatton's Grace. I think Honeysuckle will win. I know she was undercooked for the race last year, but I just don't think Henry's going to make that same mistake, and I just think she's improving all the time, this Honeysuckle. And I didn't back a Plutarch, so I was thinking, oh, is he going to be fully fit? He doesn't go well fresh, and I talked myself out of it. I'm just going to go with the best horse here. She's an absolute machine. She's 13 or 12 races unbeaten over obstacles, and yeah, I think she's going to take all the beating, and if she goes and wins by 2, 3, 4 lengths, she'll be thinking, why the hell didn't I get her in my acres? She's arguably the best horse in training. So yeah, I think Honeysuckle wins. I'd like a nice run from Classical Dream if he's declared. We'll see what happens, because we're backed in for the Stayers hurdle. I think latest exhibition could run well. It'll be an interesting race. Listen, I can't wait for it. Like, this Sunday is going to be absolutely fantastic, and I'm looking forward to all the racing coming up. So yeah, let me know. Oh, I'm going back to that as well, sorry, about the Honeysuckle. Let me know what you think about this Tingle Creek, because Shishkin Poursoir does never seem to be fully revved up for his first run of the season. Even when he won the Hilly Way last season, he didn't he didn't blow me away, or he didn't blow anybody away. I was actually okay with it. I think a lot of people were throwing stones at him, but I'm a massive fan of Shishkin Poursoir. But I do think he tends to need the run. So if he comes over at 11-8 for this Tingle Creek, is he your idea of a bet? Like I say, I'm just going to back him. Listen, like this, a Plutarch haunting me, because I wanted to do the little double with Epatante with a Plutarch, and I just talked myself out, because first time out, is he going to have bigger targets than this? But it's a grade 1 and he went and won by 22 lengths, and I'm just thinking, I'm not going to let Shishkin and Honeysuckle go unbacked, especially Shishkin coming over to race. I don't know if Newbury is going to turn up, I'm not sure. Maybe like a Rouge Vif, but Shishkin beat Newbury by streets at Punchestown, albeit at the end of a long season last year. But no, if Shishkin comes over 11 to 8, you can't let him go unbacked. Let me know what you think. Okay, he might need the run, but surely he's arguably the best two-man chasing and training. Of course he is. All open age grade 1 races that he's won, and yeah, you feel a bit of a fool if you try and be clever and think, oh yeah, he might not be fully wound up for the Tingle Creek, and then he goes and wins by 22 lengths like a Plutard. Okay, maybe not that many lengths over 2 miles. Obviously you need to be a bit more sharp for that strip maybe. But yeah, let me know what you think. Are you going to take these short prices for Honeysuckle and Shishkin so early in the season, and did you for a Plutard? Like I say, I never for a Plutard, but that's my wake-up call. I'm going to get Shishkin and Honeysuckle in a couple of doubles, a double of trebles, maybe use them to build some prices for the Cheltenham Festival, throw them in little doubles with anti-post horses, because listen, I know there's a lot of money to be made this way, but I'm not somebody that likes to throw a lot of money on 11 to 8 shots, even if they're absolute bankers. It's just, no, it's not the way I like to bet. Unfortunately, even though there is some money to be made from it, of course there is. But I'll wrap it up anyway. The only bet this week, or this video, was 0.5 points on a Honeysuckle for the National Hunt Chase, 20 to 1 across the board. Not sure if it'll go this way. Might contest the RSA. I think he's a dour stayer. I think he could win the National one day for Lucinda Russell and give it another victory in the race. I like the horse. I think he's got a lot of guts. You know, he finds more all the time. I do think the Irish could come to the fore again, and Mr. Incredible could beat him. But listen, if he runs a good race and Mr. Incredible ends up going on to be a top grade 1 3-mile horse, Ahoy Senor, if he does get mentioned to go for the National Horse Chase, this is all ifs and buts. At the end of the season, sorry, before the Cheltenham Festival, you could have people in these preview shows like saying, oh, look at that form from Newbury. Mr. Incredible is one of the favourites for the RSA, and Ahoy Senor was only 1 length behind him staying on. Surely that's good enough to win a National Hunt Chase. It's all ifs and buts, but I just think this 20 to 1, if he runs well, it could contract, and it could definitely contract if people start mentioning the National Hunt Chase for him, because I think as a grade 1 winner over hurdles, if that is a grade 1, sorry, isn't it, the Sefton hurdle when he beat Brave Man's Game, it could take good form into that National Hunt Chase. Like, I've backed him anyway, I'm putting them up here. I've only took 20 to 1. I've only got 2 horses in that race off the top of my head, like obviously a bit of after time, and I backed Run Wild Fred because he's got that second season novice kind of profile for Gordon Elliott, the same way Galvin and Dark Raven was the name of the horse that won for similar type horse the season before for Gordon Elliott, and Jamie Codds when it beat LeBrule, was it? I think. But yeah, I only to get a bit of the price, I had £5 on 12 to 1, very small bet on Run Wild Fred, and I was wanting to go back in on him kind of once he showed his well-being, but he's like 4 to 1 now, Run Wild Fred, and I do think that's a bit skinny, to be honest, so I haven't topped that up. So it's not the largest bet in the world I have, and I'd much prefer Ahoy Senor to go down this route and win, because I've had a little bit more on the 20s from Ahoy Senor, and I'm putting them up in this video. So yeah, listen, I hope you're all well. Let me know what you think if you get the chance to see this video before the weekend, and I'll see you next time. So take care, guys.